One of the things people commonly do that is a big mistake is they'll take a Nock to it out of the package and they'll start adjusting it. All of our releases are set up when they go in the package. With the knock-on stuff, we set them up, we customize them for you, so you making adjustments could be going the opposite direction of what you want versus the direction of you want. So I'm going to tell you a few things, and I'm going to tell you exactly what we do to make sure that that cocking and firing is as crisp as you're going to want it, and it comes that way out of the box. But if you've made an adjustment, I'm going to show you exactly how easy it is to get it back on track. One of the things I want to say first is we've had a lot of different iterations of internal parts. We've had ones with micro adjustments, we've had ones without micro adjustments, we've had nickel plated, we've had black oxidized. We've tried so many different types of internal components and coatings as those things advance. So we do continually make changes, and we do that when it becomes an improvement, and depending on when you've got into the Nock to it game, that may determine what generation that you have. So I'm going to go over this pretty quick here. So here is a very, very standard version of a Nock to it. It has micro adjustment, and this is the black oxidizing. Now, one of the most common things people do to make a mistake is they want this trigger much lighter and hairy light, and you don't want to release super, super light. It needs to remain safe, and it needs to be able to make sure that you're able to draw the bow and let the bow down without any premature firing. Now, the most common mistake people make is they will take this top tension screw. So the screw on the top is what is compressing that spring internally in the case. And the more you preload that spring, the more pressure it'll take to get it to fire. And the less that spring is loaded, the less it'll take to fire. Just think of it like preloading shocks on a motorcycle or on an ATV. You know, if you tighten that too much, or if you ever bottom out that top tension, you could end up squashing that spring there in the top of the release casing, and that spring can't function the way that it needs to. So you don't want the spring bottomed out, but you also don't want it fully extended to where it's actually not compressing and working. And the most common thing people do to make it really light is they'll back this top one out. And here is the thing that you need to look at on your release. So on your release, you have a small little set screw here on the side, which you need to loosen prior to making your tension adjustment. If your top tension adjustment screw, if the top of that cap is flush with the top of the casing or above that little screw hole, there's a good chance that you're not compressing the spring, and you can have premature firing, and you won't have a positive cocking engagement. So if I back this out like I'm talking about, and I'm just going to bring it up flush. Now, when I go to cock it, if it's up too high, this won't cock, okay? Now, if you get it down there just a little bit, all of a sudden it will engage, but right there, it's barely engaged. There isn't a positive click, and you can feel it too. You can really feel when that thing pops in there and it cocks correctly. So right there, it feels a little bit spongy as I cock that in. It clicks, but there's a big difference between that click and if I have that down to where that top screw is flush with that top set screw hole. You can hear and feel a very different cocking engagement. This is very important, because if you don't do that, and if the cocking engagement is soft, or it barely clicks, or if you have to push up on your trigger sear in order to get that to happen, then that's when you can certainly have premature firing. So make sure that that is tightened down, and that is a very positive click. Some people ask about the click in regards to hunting. I've never spooked an animal because of this. The bow going off is louder than the release firing, but the reason the Noctuits are different is we do have a heavy cocking spring in this, to where when that fires, it drives the jaw open faster so that that D-loop can clear out of there faster. So we want to make sure it has that very positive click like that. The next thing that we're going to do after we've made sure that's going to happen is we're going to adjust this travel screw, because we don't want travel. That's what's so nice about the Noctuits, is there's 3 sears in here, and 2 of those sears are helping us make this release work on firing with pressure and not with travel. So then what I'm going to do, if you have a travel adjustment here on the back, some do and some did not. The ones that did not were set in an optimal place. You only had to do the top screws, but some people really like the adjustment of their travel, so we've brought it back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a Allen into this travel screw, and I'm going to tighten it while it's cocked. I'm going to tighten it until it clicks. And when it clicks, think of your Allen wrench set just like a clock. So right there you can see for you, that's right at about 8 o'clock. So I'm going to go back 2 numbers. I'm going to bring that back to 6. And from there, now I'm able to cock that, and it is firing with perfect pressure, a safe pressure, and we don't have to worry about this prematurely going off because we've tried to make it too light. But those are the things that you need to focus on to get them back in the right spot. Make sure the top screw is at least flush with the top of that set screw hole. And then you're going to want to go to the back micro adjustment, turn it until it fires, and then back off, if you think of a clock, back off 2 numbers, and you're going to get that set exactly how you need it to. Now, some of the newer ones have a little bit different thumb sear on there, and it's got this new lever arm that gives us the option to have this barrel over the top of the release. You can mount it on the side and get it more on the side. And the further out you bring this, the lighter it will feel, because you've got more leverage on that. So those are the main things that you need to look for to get your Noctuit back into those factory specs and enjoy shooting this thing without worrying about it going off. The number one thing is people not having enough tension on that top thumb sear. And if that is too light or too bottomed out, that's where the problems start. So make sure you get it back to where we have it when we send it to you in the package.